Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to this session. My name is Alvarez Plugas, and I'm the head of AI Solutions Marketing at Amazon Web Services. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. As a reminder, this is a non-technical introductory session in which we will cover what is AI and what are the top AI ML use cases that we see among our customers. Not so long time ago, machine learning was basically used by very high-tech companies and some academic researchers. But with the introduction of cloud computing, machine learning went from an aspirational technology to mainstream adoption. And we're seeing now the impact of AI across all the industries. These are some numbers from IDC, a forecast of spending in 2024, $110 billion in AI software. And 75% of the companies that right now are just doing their proof of concepts and trying the first use case, moving to operationalizing AI and adopting more than one AI use case. And in a survey that Deloitte conducted among CXOs, 53% of the ones that were adopting AI were saying that AI was really transforming their organization, not just giving them optimization, but also transformation. So let's settle back a couple of minutes just to give a quick overview of what is AI. And I'm sure that you're all familiar with those terms, but I think it's good to just review them. Artificial intelligence is any system that is capable of reproducing a task that previously required human intelligence. That will be kind of a very high-level definition of what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, as mentioned, has been used for more than 50 years, but is now with a cloud option that is going mainstream and is being adopted by large organizations. The main technique under artificial intelligence, the one that today is used in all the AI ML projects, is machine learning. Machine learning takes a probabilistic approach. It uses a lot of data, use that data to train a model. And once you have that model that is trained, you're capable of adding more data and predicting the outcome based on the initial model. So it's a process that uses large amount of data. That data needs to be clean. That data needs to be unbiased. And then you use that data to train that model. And that's machine learning. It's the main tool, the main technology that is used today for any artificial intelligence project. There's two different techniques under machine learning that are also very popular. The first one is deep learning. Deep learning works a little bit like the brain, creating like multi-layer neural networks. And it's basically used for things like computer vision or speech recognition. So using a large amount of data to train those neural networks and then being capable of doing that kind of computer vision or speech recognition systems. And then a second system that is also used today is something that we call reinforcement learning. This takes a completely different approach. It's more about a reward function in which we reward the system and train the system through those rewards. That's the typical technology that is used for autonomous vehicles, for robots, for drones, and so on, because you train them. Usually you train them by using simulation. And with that simulation, you train that reinforcement learning. And then the model learns and then is capable of managing and being completely autonomous. So those are kind of four big terms that we use a lot in the AI space. Artificial intelligence, big umbrella. Machine learning, the main technology that we're using today, and two sub-technologies, which are deep learning and reinforcement learning. How Amazon Web Services is helping our companies to adopt AI. The first way is making sure that we democratize AI, that we make AI accessible to everyone. So you basically have like three options. Those companies that have ML practitioners, data scientists, usually what they do is they use one of our products called Amazon SageMaker, and they use SageMaker to ingest the data, clean the data, process the data, train the model, deploy the model, and then do all the inference. So it's an end-to-end tool that is used for building your model. You need to have people that are used to building ML models. That's the data scientists. If you don't have those data scientists, but you want to add AI capabilities to your application, or maybe you have them, but you have some time to market constraint, a very good option is what we call our pre-trained managed AI service. Those are pre-trained models that we use for things like personalization, voice recognition, text-to-voice, visual recognition. And you'll see later there's more than 25 different AI services that you can add to your applications by just using an API. And then third, you have new solutions like the one that we presented at re:Invent last year, which are what we call low-code, no-code tools, which are more meant for business analysts. People that understand their data, understand their domain, they're domain experts. They are not ML practitioners. They are not developers, but they are capable of using that tool. That tool is called Canvas. They're capable of using that tool to train their own models get the output, and then use it within the organization. So 3 different approaches depending on where you are in your ML journey, depending on what is the level of ML skills that you have in your organization, but also depending on if it makes sense to build your own model, or you can use a model that is already being pre-trained and you can easily add to your application. This is our stack. This is all our AI ML products in a layer system that I'm going to explain. The lower level is the one that companies that already have their frameworks and their ML models and want to bring their models to the cloud platform, they can run it on this infrastructure. And you have specific CPUs and GPUs and systems to be able to run those models super efficiently. Second, you have SageMaker, the one that we mentioned. If you want to build your own model, you use SageMaker. And that's the end-to-end tool that I was mentioning before. And then at the third level, you have all those AI services. And you see that we have the basic ones, text and document processing, chatbots, speech recognition, vision, and then a more complex, more specific, like personalization, like forecasting, or like more in industrial space, predictive maintenance and other solutions that are very specific to those industries. And then finally, we have that tool that I was mentioning, Canvas. This is a tool that is in the SageMaker level because it's very connected to SageMaker, but it's meant for people that are not data scientists, but it's kind of more a BI tool, a no-code tool that you're capable of ingesting that data and training. So this is the Amazon stack, covering all different kind of levels and layers in that stack for different kind of audience, and with all those pre-trained models that I mentioned before. Amazon has been using machine learning for more than 20 years. We're using machine learning in the Amazon.com store for all the personalization and product recommendations. We're using it in the fulfillment centers for managing all the inventory and all the robots that run in the fulfillment centers. We're using it with Alexa. Alexa is using heavily AI and is capable of understanding who's speaking, what is the intention, and then helping that user. And then finally, another example will be the drones. You know that we have a delivery system using drones. Well, those drones are also using reinforcement learning, as I was mentioning before. These are just 4 examples that Amazon is applying internally. There's many others. And all that experience is being brought to the products that we offer in the Amazon Web Service stack that I showed you previously. But beyond Amazon, there's more than 100,000 customers that are using and running their AI ML workloads on Amazon Web Service. And what I'm going to do today is to explain you some examples of how they're using those technology and that AI ML within their organizations and what is the kind of the business value that they're getting. Usually when you adopt AI in organization, you have like 4 main business outcomes. The first one could be enhancing your customer experience, making that your customer experience is better, is frictionless, is more innovative, and it gives more engagement at the user level. The second category is more about what we call augmentation. It's more helping your employees or your customers to make better and faster decisions. And I'll show you later some examples. The third category is more about optimization and automatization of things that happen more in the back end that can be optimized and can be automated using AI. And finally, there's a fourth one, which is more the cutting edge innovation, which is those things that were previously completely impossible without AI. New service and new products that exist because they are using AI and were completely impossible in the past. Let's see some examples for each of those categories. For customer experience, you have contact center intelligence, and I'll give you more details later about what it is, but it's basically being able to add intelligence to your contact center so you can understand what is the voice of the customer, you can help the agent, and so on. Chatbots and virtual assistants, kind of a way to also have that self-service mode with your customers and help them through chatbots or virtual assistants. Personalization in your UI, in your application, in your store, personalization in your marketing message. Everything is targeted to your specific audience. Content moderation, so when users are bringing new content, this system is capable of doing content moderation and identifying if there is something that shouldn't be there and will be removed. Fraud prevention, that's more about avoiding online fraud on your platform, on your store. Moving more for the decision making, you have intelligent search, and I'll show you later what is intelligent search, but it's adding more accuracy and natural language understanding when you do that search. Forecasting, this is a very popular AI use case. It's probably the #1 that is being adopted among companies, being able to predict for some specific time series values what's going to be the value, and I'll give you more details later. Anomaly detection, finding in a time series, in an information, when suddenly you have an outlier, what happens, what's the reason, and then help you address that specific problem or that specific opportunity, because maybe that outlier is an opportunity for your business. On the process optimization and automatization, you have a very important one, which is intelligent document processing, extracting information from documents and processing that information within your organization. Demand planning, which is connected also to forecasting, but more on the back end. Predictive maintenance, super important in the industrial space. Quality control using vision recognition, and also using AI for DevOps. So how you can apply AI to have a better software engineering within your organization. The last one is more that innovation that I was saying before. Those use cases don't exist yet. Those use cases are being built by our customers by using these machine learning techniques to build completely new, different products and services. Depending on the industry, some use case will be more relevant, less relevant. I'm giving you here some examples for the healthcare industry, everything that is diagnostic, everything that is helping with computer vision in identifying a cancer in a specific medical image, everything that is more about interacting with the patient and being able to extract notes and insights from those conversations, and relations with your patients and patient engagement. Those are typical solutions in the healthcare industry. For manufacturing and industrial, the main one is predictive maintenance, being able to predict when specific equipment will fail and then be able to change it before it fails, so you reduce the downtime. Or other space like workplace safety or quality control of the products using vision recognition. Financial service, a lot about document processing. There's a lot of documents in the financial industry, forecasting, credit scoring, and all that kind of more financial pure process done with AI/ML. Retail, a lot of personalization, recommendations. What are the products that cross-sell, upsell that you can do with that kind of recommendations? And then finally, in the media and entertainment industry, is also a lot about personalization. It's about content moderation. It's about content monetization. And it's about analyzing those videos, those assets that you have, and identifying specific brands with that kind of content. So there's a lot of very specific solutions for the media and entertainment industry. Let's go in deeper detail in some of them. Contact center. I mentioned the contact center is adding AI capabilities to your existing contact center, and there's kind of three big sub-use cases. The first one, self-service virtual agents. A system that is capable is a chatbot or a virtual assistant that is capable of attending your customers, answering the basic questions. You train those systems with your FAQs and with all the documents that you have from your organization. You will train that chatbot, and that chatbot will be able to attend your customer and solve the basic problems, and then route that customer to a personal agent if they need more help. Second one is what we call real-time call analytics. That's during the conversation with your customer, the system is listening to the conversation and identifying problems. It's first helping the agent by providing them answers to all the questions that the customer is asking, and guiding that agent and training that agent at the same time. And also at the same time, if there is a problem in that conversation, that will scale to that supervisor that will go and try to help that specific agent with that customer. So that's real-time process of those conversations and helping the agent. The third one is what we call post-call analytics. That's once you have all those recordings about all those conversations with your customers, you're capable of extracting insights, extracting sentiment, understanding what are the main questions they're asking, understanding what are the main problems and the main friction. So there's a lot of value from a voice of customer in taking all those audios that you have in your call center, analyzing them and extracting those insights that will help you to learn a little bit about what is your consideration from a customer perspective, what are the problems. Example, Maximus is a company that provides managed programs like Medicare and Medicaid. They use one of our partners, Success KPI, and they implemented the one that I was saying, this call analytics, so listening to all the interactions that they have with their customers, learning from those interactions, and then being able to help and scale to more agents and providing them the right information so they could help their customers based on those learnings. Another example would be Ryanair. Ryanair is created a chatbot in 6 different languages, capable of helping their customers in a 24/7. No need for any human in that first conversation, helping the customer, and if necessary, they route it to the corresponding agent. And they've been doing this since 2018, and more than 3 million conversations through this chatbot developed by this partner. Many other customers across many different industries, I would say that chatbot is by far one of the main use cases adopted by most companies because it solves kind of a basic problem in that 24/7 self-service service, but also virtual assistants are a little bit more advanced. And that kind of call analytics is something that we're seeing also across the board. Second big use case, what we call intelligent document processing. All companies are using documents and they process the information in those documents. Some of those documents are PDFs, some of those documents are scanned documents, and they need to be processed within the organization, and we need to extract the information in those documents. Intelligent document processing does this exactly. It's capable of looking at the document, even if it's an image, not doing a normal OCR process, but extracting the insights. If there is a signature, if there is a photo ID, if there is a table, if there is some specific paragraph that we need to analyze, is capable of understanding the structure of the document, extracting those insights, understanding what this document is saying, and then processing within the organization. Have three big industries that are using a lot these IDP solutions. The first one is the financial industry. Mortgage processing is a good example. You need to provide a lot of documents for a mortgage to process, and this system is capable of understanding those documents, extracting the main data that needs to be extracted, and enter that data in your workflow, instead of having a human doing that kind of process and entering that information manually, or instead of asking your customer to do that process and enter that information. Healthcare industry, all the insurance claims, that's another big area. A lot of documents that need to be processed, a lot of documents containing confidential and medical information that need to be treated securely. That's another big area in which IDP is being used. And then across all organizations, all organizations are using documents. A good example will be manufacturing or retail. There's many different. This is a very horizontal use case that is being used across all industries. One example into it, quite familiar those days. If you've submitted your taxes using TurboTax, you know that there is a process in which you can, option one, connect to your financial institution and it will pull the data. Option two, if you have your W-2 or your 1098 document, you just upload the document, and then TurboTax is capable of extracting that information. If you've seen multiple of those documents, you'll see that those documents are not exactly always the same. So AI is being used to understand that document and extract that data, even if the format is changing. The format doesn't need to be always the same, and that's a problem with the traditional document processing solutions, that once the format changes, the system breaks. This one is capable of looking at the document, understanding what has changed, understanding what is the data that needs to be extract that data, and pull it in the system. So a good example will be Intuit. Another example is Anthem. This is more about processing claims. That's more medical information that is extracted. And that in the past, they were at 80% automation of the process. By using this technology, they moved to 90% automation. There's always some part that will need some human intervention. That means that all those IDP processes include also the option of whenever there's a document that cannot be processed, it's sent to a person that will process that document and then fill it back to the system. But increasing that 80% to a 90% has a huge implication from a cost perspective and productivity. As you see, many different customers across different industries using IDP solutions for their very specific industrial needs. Personalization, that's also a big one that we see across the board. You use personalization to acquire new customers, to retain your existing customers by engaging them and increase the engagement by putting information that is more relevant for those customers, for increasing the discoverability of some specific products because you're suggesting products based on the preference of that user and the profile of that user. And at the end, that will increase efficiency, will increase conversion rates, and that will increase revenue. One of the industries that is using a lot personalization is the media and entertainment industry. And I'm sure that you're all familiar with looking at your channels and having all those videos being suggested based on the movies that you've seen in the past, based on your profile, your preference is suggesting from the thousands and thousands of movies available, is suggesting Pulse Live or Discovery Plus are examples of companies that are doing exactly this using our ML capabilities. And then with that, you'll increase content views, you'll increase the retention of those users, you acquire new users, and you'll be able to basically increase the relevance of the content that you're putting in front of your customer. Another big industry, retail. And in retail, that's more about discoverability of the products, making sure that you're giving the right recommendation, that you do upsell and cross-sell across all your products, based on who's the user in front of you, what is his previous history consuming products, buying products, and other users that are similar to this one, what are the products they were also buying. That increased heavily the number of sales per product and discoverability of those products. And it can be applied everywhere. So they have, for example, Bundesliga, who's the German soccer association. They have an application for engaging with the fans. Well, they're also using the product behind personalization, which is called Amazon Personalize, to suggest the most engaging content and increase the time that the users spend consuming the content on their phone app. Bundesliga, 67% increase in the article reach per user. Marco Polo increase in the number of purchase by using personalization. And Lotmart, 40% increase in the products that customers buy in the first interaction that they have with the system. All those systems are provided pre-trained. This is Amazon Personalize. It already knows exactly how to do personalization in the retail scenarios, in the media and entertainment scenarios. What it does is it pulls your data to personalize for your specific data, but those sub-use cases are already pre-trained. Another big scenario, big use case is fraud detection. And fraud detection is used across any online activity that requires a payment, or that there is a loyalty program or some promo codes that need to be processed. Then you need to use fraud detection. In the past, it was more rule-based. The problem is option one, your system is not good enough, which means that you will lose money. Option two, your system is too good or maybe not good enough to detect false positives. And then you have a very bad user experience because that transaction is denied when that was probably not a fraudulent transaction. By using AI, you're capable of learning and understanding and seeing exactly what is the situation and the kind of fraud for different scenarios, like a new account sign up, like online checkouts, detecting fraudulent cards, people trying to enter multiple times for the same card, fake accounts created by bots, and everything that could happen on the online world from a fraud prevention point of view. So this is a product called Amazon Fraud Detector that is used to do fraud detection scenarios. Example, OmniX. OmniX is a company that manages different gaming platforms. One of them is CD Keys, and they use fraud detector. And with fraud detector, they move the level from 10% that require manual intervention to just 1%. That means that 9% additional were being able to process using fraud detection, not being sent to humans. That means increasing the productivity, reducing the cost, and lowering the losses because of that fraud. Some additional companies using examples of different industries using fraud detection in their organization. Very connected to fraud detection is identity verification. And that's something that is used for many different scenarios. The typical one is you use your license ID or your passport, and the system is capable of looking at that information, extracting the information, looking at your face in the passport, looking at your own face, and checking and validating that you're the right person. And it can be applied for online proctoring, for gig economy work with the phone application, for transportation, customer onboarding, or even retail online e-commerce where you're validating the user identity. So that's using facial recognition and also ID verification and comparing. Have a very nice example is a company called Aila Credit, and they give credit for people that are don't have a bank account. And with that, what they're capable of doing is verifying the identity with the user, and whatever passport or ID that they have, validate that is exactly the same person, and then being able to process that loan or being able to process that financial transaction without requiring them to have that account in that financial institution. Some other examples of identity verification in different industries and different examples. Forecasting. That's also a big one. As I mentioned before, is a very popular use case. It allows you to predict what's going to be the value of a time series within your organization. And it can be applied for planning your inventory and knowing exactly if you have enough of each product and what should be the product that you should be provisioning in your inventory. Workforce planning, knowing exactly how many people you will need a specific date based on what is the demand and the prediction of the demand for that specific day. We can also use it for capacity planning, more from what is the capacity that I will need to produce based on that specific demand, and also for financial planning. That's sales, that's financial forecasting. You use a product called Amazon Forecast, and with that, you do the forecasting of those time series and apply it internally within your organization. And it combines this forecasting with other information. Same thing like when I was mentioning personalization. Personalization can also combine with other information like the weather, because the weather is extremely relevant when you're doing prediction for a personalization. Same thing for forecasting. That kind of additional information can be added to the system and considered when analyzing and doing the forecasting of those metrics. One example more is a grocery chain in India, which reduced 30% the waste of their production because of the right forecasting and planning on what is the stock that they need, what is going to be the demand, and based on that, they can optimize all their supply chain, all their inventory, and reduce the waste by 30%. Another would be more on the manufacturing industry. That's a good example would be Foxconn, in which they're using also for optimizing inventory, for optimizing fulfillments, and for doing that 8% increase in demand forecast accuracy by using Amazon Forecast and our forecasting solution. Some additional examples in the forecasting in different industries using forecast. Another one, we were mentioning that some were more for the customer experience. This is more about enhancing your employees, allowing them to make better decisions and find information easier. And that will be on the left side, you see a little bit the traditional search. In a traditional search, what you use is you use some keywords and the system will provide you a list of documents and you'll have to click one by one those documents and read if that document is relevant and extract the insights. And intelligent search, what it does is first, it understands natural language. So when you're asking that question, it will understand exactly what you're trying to search for. And then it will provide you an answer. It will look at all the documents, understand those documents, and provide you with the best answer for that specific question, and also additional questions you may have which are related to this one. So it's a completely different experience. It's not just finding documents, it's understanding those documents and providing you answers to your questions. It can be applied across all the industries, and that will be a little bit the experience. So you first type your question using natural language. I want to find what is the IT help desk. And then the system will provide you with specific answer. That in that case is first floor. That's where you need to go for IT. And then it will propose you additional questions which are related to this one. And there are other people that were asking the same question were also asking. And then it will index and analyze all the information in your organization. It has different connectors and it's capable of pulling that information, indexing that information, understanding those documents, and providing you with that intelligent search. As I was mentioning, this is used across different industries. A good example would be 3M. 3M from a research perspective, every time that they need to do a new research, they need to pull from previous research they've done, documents, and finding those documents across thousands and thousands, and also based on who's doing that question, what is the keyword they're using. By using this solution, they're capable of understanding exactly what is the user looking for and suggesting what is the best document. That increases productivity, that provides a shorter time to market, let's say, from a research perspective. Another example will be Magellan. That's more on for the contact center. Remember that I was mentioning the contact center and helping the agents? Well, those agents are having a conversation with a customer. They get a question. That question is understood by the system and immediately sent to the system. So it's capable of providing you what is the best answer for the question that this customer is asking. So that's combining two of those use cases. One, helping the agent and also providing them with the best answer for that question by using this intelligent search solution. Some examples of Amazon Kendra. Amazon Kendra is the product that we use for intelligent search across different industries, the Wall Street Journal, and so on. Industrial. In the industrial space, the main use case is predictive maintenance. But we have others, visual inspection and quality, capable of looking at the products that are coming out from the manufacturing line and identifying any problem that exists in that product from a quality perspective. Or also security, capable of looking at all the manufacturing plant and identifying if there is maybe someone that is not wearing the right protective gear, or if there is a problem with a robot that is too close to a person. And then the predictive maintenance that I was mentioning before. That's basically analyzing all different sensors available throughout the manufacturing line, capturing that data, and once you have 2 months, 3 months of history of that data and what are the different problems that came up with those specific equipments, the system is going to be able to predict when a specific equipment will fail. And that's something that will prevent. You can change that equipment or fix that equipment 1 week before it fails, which means there's not going to be downtime. You can do that maintenance whenever you want, and it won't affect the production, or it won't affect the quality of the product that is produced because of that defective manufacturing process. You can also do forecasting. Forecasting is also used in the manufacturing space. Related to predictive maintenance, one of the products that we have is called Monitron. Monitron are those yellow devices. Those are things that you attach to your equipment, and then they connect to the hub, the big yellow device on the right, and they send and transmit the information about those sensors, and that's temperature, vibrations, and everything that they capture from that specific device. And this is connected with an application that is capable of then identifying alerts, identifying anomalies, sending those anomalies to the operator with a phone application and letting them know that there is something going on with a specific equipment based on the learnings of all the information analyzed throughout the time, and constantly improving, because those systems are constantly improving with additional information being brought by the system. Examples of companies using this, Koch would be a good example. They're using Monitron. Monitron is the device, and Lookout for Equipment is the service that is doing the analysis of that information. So if you already have sensors, you will use Lookout for Equipment. If you don't have sensors, you can use Monitron as sensors connected to your devices. And they're basically using this for optimizing their predictive maintenance across the different devices. Engie, that's a French company, also in the manufacturing space. They're using SageMaker. So instead of using Monitron or Lookout for Equipment, they build their own model using SageMaker. And they improved, they have more than 1,000 predictive models being built across all their manufacturing lines and all their equipments capable of doing predictive maintenance across all the different devices. So how we make it real? How we help our customers deploy those AI/ML solutions? Well, the first option is just to work with Amazon. Amazon has professional service, and we can help our customers by developing the projects and helping them and working with them. We also have what we call the Amazon ML Solutions Lab. This is a group within Amazon that helps customers ideate new ideas and come up with a proof of concept about how we could apply AI ML in that specific company and what will be that next use case. Could be one of the ones I presented, could be a completely new one. And that's kind of an ideation process that works with Solutions Lab, working close with the customer, and then deploying a proof of concept that will be deployed in the organization. Second option is to work with our partners. We have an extensive network of partners that are certified with machine learning and are using our machine learning technologies and their own development on top of them that can help customers for very specific solutions and industries. And we have a broad catalog of third-party solutions for AI/ML. And then finally, you can also do it yourself. You have like two options, as I was mentioning before. The first one is by using artificial AI services. Those are the pre-trained models that I mentioned before, the ones for voice, for vision, for text. Option two would be to build your own model. That will be using SageMaker. And that's the tool that allows you to train your own models. And then to help our customers in the adoption of those specific use cases, we've created a set of solutions library that use those AI service and machine learning that our customers can download for free. And you have all the different services, how to stitch together those services, and something that you can use as a starting point for your own deployment. Same thing for SageMaker. We have what we call Amazon SageMaker Jumpstart, which is something that helps whoever is working with SageMaker with specific models. And so they don't have to start from scratch. They'll have some templates they can use to develop their own machine learning models. These are some examples of those solutions. And below you have the URL if you are interested in checking for additional ones. And you have for most of the ones I've mentioned, for intelligent document processing, for chatbots, for contact center intelligence, for all of them, you have solutions. You can download those solutions, and they will show you exactly how to stitch together different services if you decide that you want to build it yourself. As I was mentioning, this is one option. Option two, working with partners or working with Amazon. That's an overview of the main AI use case that I wanted to present today. It took me less than I was expecting. So that's it. Basically, I wanted to give you an overview of what is AI, what are the main AI tools that we use internally at Amazon and the ones that we're offering in those multiple layers that I was mentioning, what are the main use cases across the different industries, what are some examples of some of the customers and the value that they bring. If you're interested in any of those use cases, please check our website. You'll see some additional examples and customers. You'll see the solutions that I was mentioning. You see how to engage with us. And there's additional sessions here that you can go and attend for the specific use case, like IDP or like predictive maintenance. I know that there are many different sessions that go deeper from a technical perspective of how these things work and how to deploy them. Okay? Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.